I go to sleep that night and I'm like bothered by something. At that moment, I just said to myself, I can't do it. I'm not gonna launch this company. And I turn around, he's at the door, and he just looks back at me and he goes, let's go get to work.
Hi, my name is Vince Reed.
Hey, what's going on? Vince Reed here, and welcome back to the DM. I hope you're enjoying all of the content. I'm having a lot of fun creating it. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and also be sure to check out the recap shows, because I go back and I answer a lot of the questions, and we cover a lot of information that we don't get to go over in the episodes. And with that being said, let's get this party started. So I tell my right-hand man that we're not gonna go through with our original plan and we're gonna switch things. I'm freaking out, and immediately I knew that I hired the right person. As he walked by me, looks back and says, let's get to work. We immediately go into my little apartment and we do just that. We spend the entire day storyboarding, changing plans back and forth, and what turned into a little bit of frustration because we were going to have to switch things almost inspired us. We were just fired up. What was cool was that, we had spent months and months and months trying to build this real estate business. But, when I told my right-hand man that now we were gonna focus in on the home-based business industry, affiliate marketers, network marketers, digital marketers, and help them with lead generation, if you can generate leads for businesses, you will never, ever, 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 ever go hungry. So, we're like mad scientists. We're putting stuff on the board. We were able to take the best of what we had done with the system that we weren't going to go through with and really condense it down to make something, even more powerful. I remember I went through all of the notes that I had, from, the guy from the VIP party in terms of him teaching me all the strategies. I had all of the notes and I was able to condense all of that down and take out the best pieces from that system and implement it into this new process. But more on that later. So in order to pull off my master plan and become the guy that's teaching the entire industry lead generation, I knew that I had to become the lead guy. I had to let everybody know that when it came to lead generation, there was no one else to turn to, that I had the latest strategies, the best strategies, the proven strategies that could work. And that's when I made the phone call. I called my video team and we started to come up with a plan to really start this whole branding process, because if I was not the lead guy, this entire system that we were creating to help people with lead generation would not work. And then it happened. I called up a buddy of mine who, was an amazing lyricist, and it happened. Leads. I think I found the answer. Finally a niche where I could truly be the master.
No more on my days of being pupil. I did my research and I finally found the loophole. Discovered all the power of generating leads. Put in extra hours till I saw myself succeed. Built myself a network that extends overseas. Started making money, now I'm growing money trees.
So it was crazy. People were like, man, you do marketing, now you're doing rapping. Do you sell popcorn on the weekends as well? I said, maybe, if it makes money, I might just be out there in the corner slinging popcorn too. It was fun, man. The rap song actually went viral. It was the first video that I had that went viral. I remember I posted it back then on Facebook and people were hitting me up and they thought it was me rapping. It actually was not me rapping. It was the lyricist who wrote it, and he was actually the guy that was doing our videos at the time, and it was fun. But it really allowed me to dig into the whole lead generation thing, and it made the entire process and the system, that we were, literally a few weeks away from launching, work a lot better. So it's launch day. My right-hand man, he pulls up. I meet him in the parking lot and he walks up and he's looking at me. He's like, don't tell me that we're not going through with it. I'm like, nah, man, I just wanted to come out and say it's go time, right? So we had planned this amazing webinar, and that's really how we typically launch these products. And we had it dialed in and we had simplified it. The real estate business had several steps that, real estate professionals would have to go through in order to maximize results. But this particular system only had 4 steps. We had simplified it, and we knew that if people would go through this process, not only would they be lead generation masters, they'd position themselves to make a lot of money, and that's exactly what happened. We do the webinar, this thing takes off, and it's crazy. People are buying First month, well over $50,000. Second month, well over $76,000. And it just continues to go on and on and on and on. So I know you're probably wondering, what the heck did you do? How did it happen? You would want to know that, but I'm not going to tell you. Just kidding. Of course, I'm going to tell you. So it was 4 basic system processes, right? So I had got really good at running ads on Twitter. And one piece of advice that I want to always share with you is that it's really profitable to be first, right? If you can be first, it's extremely, extremely profitable. So I was running these ads on Twitter, and the first part of the system was selling this Twitter course, right? So it was a Twitter course. I think we sold it for $297, and it would teach you how to generate leads on Twitter. So we sold this product. It was like the entry product. We really, coined this particular first step as the launching point of the entire business. So when people would buy this product, what we were really doing was trying to liquidate phone calls, right? So when people would buy it, we would call them up on the phone. And my right-hand man was my first salesperson. And he would call up these individuals who would purchase this product, and he would offer them several other lead generation products for a monthly fee. I think we offered that for like $47 per month. Now I know what you're thinking, man, you would use someone on the phone to sell a, $49 or $47 thing? Yes, and it absolutely worked, because I think like 90 to 95% of the people who bought the first training essentially would take us up on that offer, and that built a massive recurring revenue that you really need to sustain any type of business. So now we were able to build these communities, because not only would individuals get a ton of training, that's where they then got access to myself, and I would do a webinar each and every week to help them with all of the training. But also on that presentation, I would offer them the ability to become partners with me. What that allowed them to do is for them to go out there and promote the exact same thing. Now, what made this work is that I had perfected the strategy. I had perfected how to run traffic to this Twitter course to generate sales. And what was cool about the partners, they had gone through it. So when they would go to the next step, we would do all of the marketing for them if they decided to essentially purchase additional traffic through us, right? And what was cool about it was it gave people that were utilizing our strategies the ability to not only, learn the latest strategies to help them grow whatever business that they had, but because they were able to become partners and promote our services, they were able to essentially earn while they were learning. So we would pay 50% commissions. So if they would sell the $300 Twitter course, they'd make $150. If we sold for them the continuity program at $50 a month, they'd get half of that. And then if that person that came in decided to partner with us, they'd get well over $1,000 commission. And if those people decided to do marketing and they wanted us to help them, okay, they would get paid on that as well. So the system just took off. I mean, to the point where it felt like every single day we were sending out emails of other people that were making money, 6 figures, $50,000. People were making so much money, it was crazy, but they were also learning lead generation. And I felt so fulfilled, because for the first time, we had something that wasn't controlled by outside forces, right? I didn't have to, look up one day and get a call from, some company saying that they're shutting us down. It was information, and we were in control, and we were off and running. So now I'm kind of a big deal in the industry. A lot of people that are, having live events and, doing certain things and making a lot of money are starting to take note, because their people are starting to become part of our system, and they're all making money. And I remember I get a call from, my buddy who I met at the VIP party, and he calls me and he says, "Hey man, I'm having a big event, and it's going to be in Fiji. I want you to come and speak. Bring your wife. You can have a lot of fun." And I'm like, all right, cool. Now I can be, not only a speaker that spoke in the US, now I can be, a speaker that spoke all over the world, right? So I go there, we fly out to Fiji, it's amazing, and this is before kids, so we're having a lot of fun. And I meet a lot of people, and again, it was crazy because everybody that was at this particular event had paid, several thousands of dollars to be there, and I knew that I had to bring it. And I remember I was thinking to myself as I was on the plane, at this point, I'm teaching lead generation. I know people that are, making a lot of money are using the strategies that I'm teaching them to make millions of dollars. but yet I'm still not getting invited to speak at really any of the events out there, in the digital marketing world. It's kind of me speaking, at my buddies' events, and me just doing my little local webinars here or there. And I started to think, man, what's the deal here? People just kind of taking the information and, basically using it as if it's their own, which is fine, but that was the first time I started to think about it. But anyhow, in Fiji, it was cool because, I was able to really break through a lot of, different issues that I was having with myself that I didn't even know I had. So for example, before that trip, I was terrified of just flying in an airplane, to the point where, I remember we would go to Takeoff to go somewhere on a plane, and I would put my hand, on my wife's leg, her knee, and then if I'd lift my hand, like there'd be a sweat print on her leg. I'd be that nervous to fly. And when I was in Fiji, my buddy's like, hey man, we're gonna go skydiving. I'm like, what? You're talking to the guy that's afraid to fly. There's no way I'm jumping out of the plane. He's like, you're coming. So I'm like, all right, I don't wanna wuss out. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I get up bright and early and I'm just freaking out. We get to the place. It's old equipment. It's this little propeller plane that takes you up. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? But I remember something happened. I wasn't the first to go. The first group went. So I saw people coming down, and I saw the instructors. Not only were they coming down and landing, they were doing tricks as they were landing, and they seemed like it was nothing. It was just like this, no big deal. And everybody was coming down. People that I knew from the event had just finished. And then I remember thinking to myself, if people were going splat from skydiving, they probably wouldn't be skydiving, right? It started to let me think about these limiting beliefs and these fears that people make up in their head. And I can tell you, when I jumped out of that plane and I hit the ground, it completely changed my life. And I've told people this before, and people go, you're nuts, but I'm serious. I had this new level of confidence. I knew for a fact when I hit the ground that I was gonna be extremely successful in whatever I wanted to do. And I started to realize that a lot of the fears that people have are simply made up. Like, for example, you may not believe that these stories I'm telling you are true, but hopefully by listening to these things, you can start to change limiting beliefs that you may have to say, yes, they are possible and I can achieve them. But it definitely changed my life and really got me thinking differently. And then I get back, I speak, I have a great time, and I meet the guy in the VIP party for dinner, and he says, hey, what do you think about the event? What do you ever see yourself doing events? I'm like, man, no, I would never do this. This seems like a lot of work. And here I go again, falling victim to these limiting beliefs. He goes, you should have events. I'm like, it just seems like so much work. He's like, it's not a lot of work. You should do it. You're gonna do an event. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. He's like, when? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, no, give me a time. And he held me to a time to do it. I'm like, I'm gonna do one this year. He's like, all right. And he gave me all of his contacts, and we kind of left it at that. And I remember, when I got back home, and I started kind of freaking out because I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta have this event. So I remember we got back and the system's going crazy, we're making money, and we had this group on Facebook with all of our members, and I asked them the question, I'm like, hey, if I were to have a live event, would you come? And instantly everyone's like, yes, I'd be there, we're gonna all get together, everybody's going crazy. And I'm like, I guess we're gonna have an event. So I remember I picked up the phone and I called some of the contacts that my buddy from the VIP party told me about in terms of people to call when you're having an event. And I called them and they were asking me where, I wanted to have it. And, we finally come up with, we're gonna do it in San Diego. And I remember I had to put this crazy deposit down, $20,000. And then there was all these things in the contract. If you don't have X number of people in terms of your room block, you have to pay all this extra money. And I just remember being so stressed out. And, I just took one step at a time. And as I started to do it, I started to, again, just knock down all these limiting beliefs. And it just made me a better entrepreneur and a business owner to realize that a lot of the things that you are fearful of are just not real. And, I looked up and we were literally, months away from a live event. We had all of the materials, we had all these, the little signs, and it was going down. So we're months away from the event, and up until this point, I didn't have any other speakers. It was just me. And before I got any other speakers, I wanted to make sure that I highlighted some of the people that were within our company and invite them to speak. And the reason I wanted to do that was, one, I was never getting invited to speak at any other events, and I wanted to make sure that, other people within our company didn't feel the same. So I reached out to a few people within the company that were doing well, and I had like 15-minute slots for them to just get their feet wet and learn some public speaking and have an experience speaking at a live event. And to my surprise, everything was crazy except one thing. We had one guy who I really, really liked. I mean, he was a great marketer. He kind of went rogue. I remember he sends me this message and he was upset that I only gave him 15 minutes. And I think when people start to have their own events, they'll realize that the time is of the essence. It's very difficult to pack everything in. I had to leave slots for other speakers, slots for myself, and there's only a certain amount of time that you can have for a live event, and it was just a 2-day event. He gets mad, he starts making rogue videos. The week before, the event, he was talking about how our company helped him get his car. The next week, we're the worst company ever, and it was crazy. And it was the first time I ever felt like deeply hurt, because now here I am again, helping people get results, trying to give people an opportunity, and for whatever reason, it gets flipped around on me. And it was so bad that he ended up having to, leave the company. And who knows what ever happened to that guy. But it was just one of those things that you need to know when you get started growing your business, that you're gonna have things that go good and you're gonna have some surprise things that just simply go bad. So now it was time for me to contact some other entrepreneurs to invite to speak at this event. So I remember I said to myself, I've got to get my mentor to speak at this event. I mean, it was a goal of mine, when I first started my businesses, to even get to know him. How cool would it be to now be having my own events and invite him, right? So I remember I sent out the email and I contacted him and he agreed to speak, and I was like, okay, it's game time. I was so excited. I remember I just jumped up and I was screaming at the house. And then from there, it was pretty much easy to get everyone else. When I would invite other people, I would say, hey, this person's speaking and this person's speaking. And it was crazy. I remember I got a lead from one of my other mentors. He had connected with a young and hungry guy named John Lee Dumas, basically the founder of Entrepreneur on Fire, when he was getting going. He said, hey, you should call this guy. He's big on podcasts, and have him speak. That was really cool. He agreed, and it was awesome. And he and I have become amazing friends ever since then. After I got John Lee Dumas, it was other entrepreneurs, and it just became easier and easier to get other speakers. And then it was on. I mean, we had our list of speakers. I started, doing kind of these big reveals to, all of the members. This person's speaking, this person's speaking. This is the king of podcasts, he's speaking. Hey, and I'm kind of speaking, right? So everybody was really excited, and it was fun. And there was one other thing that I wanted to do to make this event a huge success. So our system is exploding. Everybody's having success. We're having a lot of fun. Me and my right-hand man are just on top of the world. And I wanted to create a game changer. This was during the time where, all of these different pieces of software were popping up to help people build landing pages. And we were using a specific company to do that in terms of the funnels that we were giving people within our company to use to go sell our products. I remember thinking to myself, how cool would it be to have my own software, my own lead capture page software that I could offer to other people and use on my own. And I started kind of calling around to some people to see what it would be like to essentially get this built. And I decided to get really ambitious and see if I could find someone to not only build it, but to build it in time to announce and release at my event. Yes, like 4 months away. So I call a guy up and he goes, yeah, I don't know if it's possible. And at this point I've got this newfound mindset where it's like, you don't say what you can't do, you figure out a way to where you can do something, right? So I go, okay, bye. I call another guy, he says it's not enough time. I go, okay, bye. I call one guy, he goes, well, I think we can do it, but it's gonna be close. And I say, well, what if I paid you a little bit more? Do you think you can do it? He's like, yeah, I can do it, right? So he comes on, he becomes the project manager, and he goes out, he starts finding all these software engineers to build it. And I remember when I had the first meeting, they say, well, how do you want this thing to work? And I'm like, well, this is what we use right now. I want something that works like this. I want to be able to build pages very quickly, and I want it to be really smooth, and I want to be able to offer this to my existing clients. And he's like, okay, I think I can do that. So they just get to work, I pay the money, and I really don't think much about it. And now we're like a couple months out from the event, and I would get some stuff back every now and then, but the word that I was getting that it was coming along, and I was so focused on growing this company and the system, I really wasn't paying attention. I just knew that, well, at least they told me that it was going to be ready by the time we got to the event. Now, once I got the word from the project manager that it looked like it was gonna be possible, I let the members in our system know, hey, I got this big announcement. And I remember the last session of the event was gonna be this big announcement that I was gonna make at the event. So now I was on the hook. This thing had to be done. And I remember now we were like rolling with the system, and myself and right-hand man, we were spending a lot of time talking about, our process and how we were gonna launch this thing. So our goal to launch this like landing page software was to offer it for not $100 a month, not $50 a month, but for free. Yes, for free. Hosting, unlimited, clicks to the pages, everything. That was our idea. That's what we were gonna do. And we were gonna do that because we thought, well, what if we were able to give this software away for free? Because there were other companies out there with similar software, and use it as a lead magnet, right? Because if we're teaching lead generation and we gave people the software for free, then we'd be able to easily streamline them into our system, and it would be a great way to essentially get more customers. Seemed genius at the time, right? Another month goes by and we're a month out from the event, and finally I see kind of like a little prototype. There's really no dashboard, there's really no processing in terms of collecting payments. It's just kind of like a shell of a company, but it looks like, okay, we've got enough, just get started at the event, right? So 2 weeks go by and now I'm expecting to like have something to see, and I still don't have anything. And I'm getting a little worried now. And people are now starting to message me, what is this big announcement? What are you gonna share? And I'm like, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be awesome. And then I get off the phone with them and I'm calling the developer, freaking out, like, you need to get this thing done, right? And they're assuring me it's gonna be ready. Long story short, we get to the event. The event starts and it's going, and you probably can guess, I still haven't seen this thing. I don't know if it's even going to work, but they're still telling me by the time you get on stage for this big announcement, which is the next day, it'll be done, right? So the next day comes and I'm, in between breaks at the event, I'm on, the phone, I'm online on webinars with the team, and I finally see it an hour before I have to go on stage. And I freak out. What the heck is this? I'm already using this. I kid you not. The interface looked exactly like one of the companies that we were using currently. And I said, I wanted you to make something that works similar to that. I didn't want you to make the exact same thing, and I just go ham. I'm so hot, I'm so mad and angry. I'm like, okay, listen, this needs to change, and we can't have the same thing. I did not tell you to do this. I said I wanted it to function like this, and I'm freaking out, like, don't worry, we'll change it. It'll be different. And it's just the interface. Everything else is normal. We just needed to get the interface done quick, so we made it similar. And they're swearing at me. I'm like, did you steal this from them? No, we didn't steal it. It's our own thing. And I'm freaking out, right? I get to the event, I go down on stage, and this was supposed to be like my Steve Jobs moment, right? I had this vision that I would do these events every single year and announce some new thing, at every event, right? So I come out there, get my Steve Jobs on, and I get up to the podium and I pull it up, and I'm just hoping that it comes up, and it comes up. But I do it real quick, get in and out, and they're excited. I tell them that it's gonna be free and everybody's gonna be able to use it. They're going crazy. But I think I did it so quick they didn't really understand that it was a similar mock-up to what I was using before, but I figured it'd be changed by the time they really got into it. So one of the things that we would do that was really cool at the event was we would offer an extra VIP day, basically the day after the event, right? So maybe 20 or 25 people paid for that. And it was cool because the next day after the 2-day event, we had a little room, and I was able to do an extra mastermind, and I was able to get them to kind of beta test the software. And I made everybody promise when they signed up to not talk about it online. I told them what I'm telling you right now, that they're gonna change the interface, this is the problem with it, and all that good stuff. And they're like, oh, we swear they're using it. And I remember going home, I saw someone already talking about it on the internet. I'm like, man, I thought I told you guys not to talk about it. And I started getting freaked out. I called my lawyer up and I tell them what happened. He goes, oh, it's probably nothing, but if you get anything, just call us back and we'll deal with it. And I get back and it's cool. We're riding high from the event. We're so excited that I plan another trip to Sin City to celebrate. And then I remember I wake up one morning and I get an email, and the subject line of this email says, cease and desist. Thank you guys so much for watching. As you can see, it's getting good. Make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe and leave a comment. Leave a comment. I want to hear what you think. Until the next one, I'll see you on the internet. Later.